Once upon a time, in the peaceful village of Obi, lived a young girl named Eka. She was kind, curious, and always eager to help. Eka loved listening to stories, especially those told by her grandmother, Nana. Nana often spoke of a mysterious old man who could control time. His name was Kato, and he lived at the edge of the village. One sunny day, Eka decided to visit Kato. She had heard so much about him and wanted to see if the stories were true. As she approached Kato's hut, she saw him sitting outside, carving a piece of wood. He was an old man with a long white beard and kind eyes. "Kato," Eka said shyly, "may I ask you something?" Kato looked up and smiled. "Of course, my child. What would you like to know? Is it true that you can control time?" Eka asked. Kato's smile faded. He looked serious as he replied, "Yes, it is true. But with great power comes great responsibility. Time is not something to be played with." Eka nodded, her eyes wide with wonder. "Can you teach me?" Kato shook his head. "It is a dangerous gift, Eka. Only those with a pure heart and brave spirit can use it wisely." Days passed, and Eka couldn't stop thinking about Kato and his ability to control time. One night, she heard a commotion in the village. The greedy chieftain, Chuka, and his men were demanding that Kato give them the secret of time control. Kato refused, and Chuka's men began to destroy his hut. Eka couldn't stand by and watch. She ran to Kato's side. "Please, stop," she shouted. "Leave him alone." Chuka sneered at Eka. "Stay out of this, little girl. This is not your concern." Eka stood her ground. "You can't take what doesn't belong to you. Time is sacred." Kato looked at Eka with gratitude. "Thank you, Eka. Your courage is admirable." Chuka laughed. "If you want to protect him, then you'll face the consequences." With that, Chuka and his men seized Eka and Kato, taking them to the village square. The villagers gathered, whispering in fear. Chuka announced that unless Kato revealed the secret of time, they would both be punished. Eka looked at Kato, her eyes filled with determination. "We can't let him win," she whispered. Kato nodded. "There is a way, but it is risky. Are you ready?" Eka took a deep breath and nodded. "Yes, I am ready." Kato closed his eyes and began to chant. A bright light surrounded them, and suddenly, they were transported to a different time. Eka looked around in awe. They were in the same village, but everything looked different. The trees were taller, and the huts were newer. "This is the past," Kato explained. "We must find a way to stop Chuka from gaining power." Eka and Kato worked together, using their knowledge of the future to change the course of events. They warned the villagers about Chuka's greed and helped them prepare for his rise to power. Slowly but surely, they began to see changes. Chuka's influence weakened, and the village became stronger. But Chuka was not one to give up easily. He discovered their plan and followed them back in time. A fierce battle ensued, with Eka and Kato fighting bravely to protect the village. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Eka found the strength within herself to unleash a powerful surge of time energy. Chuka was defeated, and peace was restored. Eka and Kato returned to the present, where they were hailed as heroes. The villagers thanked them for their bravery and wisdom. Kato looked at Eka with pride. "You have proven yourself worthy, Eka. The legacy of timekeeping is now yours." Eka smiled, her heart filled with joy. She knew that with this gift, she could protect her village and ensure a brighter future for all. But their journey was far from over. As they celebrated, a mysterious figure watched from the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. The true battle for the legacy of time had only just begun. Eka felt a shiver down her spine as she sensed a pair of eyes watching her. She looked around but saw no one. Kato noticed her unease and placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Be vigilant, Eka. The path of a timekeeper is fraught with unseen dangers. Eka nodded, determined to stay alert. She spent her days learning from Kato and practicing her new abilities. She could now slow down time, speed it up, and even glimpse into the future for brief moments. The villagers admired her and often sought her guidance. One evening, as the sun set, Eka heard a soft whisper in the wind. Eka, the voice was faint but unmistakable. She followed the sound, which led her to the old baobab tree at the edge of the village. The tree was ancient, its branches thick and gnarled. Who's there? Eka called out, her voice trembling slightly. A figure emerged from the shadows, cloaked in dark robes. It was a woman with piercing eyes and a sly smile. I am Zai, keeper of the dark time. I have been watching you, Eka. Eka stepped back, her heart pounding. What do you want? Zai's smile widened. I want what is rightfully mine. The power of time belongs to me, not to a mere child like you. Give it to me, and I will spare your village. Eka stood tall, refusing to be intimidated. I will never give it to you. Time is not a toy for your amusement. Zai's eyes narrowed. Very well. You have chosen your fate. With a wave of her hand, she disappeared into the night, leaving Eka alone and worried. Eka rushed back to Kato's hut and told him about Zai. Kato's expression grew serious. Zai is a dangerous enemy. She once tried to steal the power of time but was banished for her dark intentions. We must be prepared for her return. The days that followed were filled with tension. Zai began to unleash her dark magic on the village, causing crops to wither and rivers to dry up. The villagers grew fearful, and some even blamed Eka for bringing this curse upon them. Eka felt the weight of the village's expectations on her shoulders. She trained harder, mastering her abilities and seeking ways to counter Zai's dark magic. One night, as she meditated under the stars, she had a vision. She saw a hidden cave deep in the forest, where a powerful artifact lay hidden. This artifact could amplify her powers and help her defeat Zai. Determined, Eka set out on a journey to find the cave. Kato insisted on accompanying her, and together, they ventured into the dense forest. They faced many challenges along the way, treacherous paths, wild animals, and eerie whispers that tried to lead them astray. After days of searching, they finally found the cave. Inside, it was dark and filled with strange symbols etched into the walls. At the center of the cave, on a pedestal, lay a glowing amulet. Eka reached out and touched it, feeling a surge of energy course through her. With the amulet in hand, Eka and Kato returned to the village, ready to face Zai. As they approached, they saw that Zai had already begun her attack. Dark clouds loomed over the village, and lightning crackled in the sky. Eka stood firm, the amulet glowing brightly around her neck. Zai, your reign of terror ends now, she shouted. Zai laughed, her voice echoing through the air. You think you can stop me, little girl? You are no match for my power. Eka closed her eyes and focused. She felt the energy of the amulet merge with her own, amplifying her abilities. Time seemed to slow as she raised her hands and channeled all her strength into a single, powerful blast. The blast struck Zai, who screamed in fury as she was enveloped in a blinding light. When the light faded, Zai was gone, and the dark clouds vanished. The village was safe once more. The villagers cheered and celebrated their victory. Eka looked at Kato, who nodded approvingly. You have done well, Eka. You have protected the village and upheld the legacy of the timekeepers. Eka smiled, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment. But she knew that this was just the beginning. With the power of time, there would always be new challenges and threats to face. And she was ready for them, with Kato by her side and the strength of her ancestors guiding her. As the villagers rejoiced, a new figure watched from the distance, shrouded in darkness. The battle for the legacy of time was far from over. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this story, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss the next episode. I love you. We'll see you in the next.